Back on CBS Sports HQ, where this leg was the hardest leg of a three-way tie scenario in the NFC South. Atlanta take care of business here. If they beat New Orleans next week, the Tampa Bay-Carolina outcome becomes moot, and Carolina takes the tiebreaker. Now, that Carolina-Tampa is first to the table, so call it a Carolina insurance policy in the case that they do end up losing to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's a win and in for Carolina. It's a win and wait for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who now need that Atlanta loss. We got all that? Fellas, Emery Hunt, Bryant McFadden, let's assess what we think we may see. Because tonight was the, all right, we'll start entertaining it if Atlanta does take care of L.A. Well, they take care of L.A., and now you have a Tampa Bay Buccaneers team that's sort of on the brink and no longer in control of what they're going to see come playoff time. How do you assess this whole picture right now in the NFC South, the way things have shaken out?
I think what we see in the NFC South is what we've seen throughout the entire league. Even when you think you know, you don't know. The parity in the league has been so in a flux, but it makes it so that much more entertaining. Not even 24 hours ago. Well, 24 hours ago, our very own Jonathan Jones talked about the scenario that was associated with this game tonight in Atlanta. And you remember what he said, JJ? Well, Atlanta needs to beat the Rams. But within 24 hours, when they lose, all of this might not matter, right? Basically saying Atlanta was going to lose this ball game. Well, Atlanta did the same thing the Cleveland Browns did to the Pittsburgh Steelers. No one gave them a fighting chance. All they did, went out and played a football game and ultimately won. Now, because of that, the entire division in the NFC South is in a wait-and-see approach. Because for Tampa, they were rooting for the Rams. They needed Atlanta to win, to lose, so it can make their scenario
true winner take all
easier. They just got to win. But now you got to win and still window watch to see exactly what happens Sunday between New Orleans and Atlanta. And you better believe Atlanta would love not only to beat their divisional foe, but help get another divisional foe out of the playoffs in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because they dislike both.
Yeah.
They don't like Carolina or Tampa. But if they feel like, and they know, if we win, you're out, no question we're trying to win.
It's all a bit incestuous right now
Yes.
in the NFC South. Emery, I want to dig into that game because, again, first to the table will be Carolina and Tampa Bay. It'll have all the feelings of a win-and-in situation, specifically for Carolina. Do you see this outcome in any way affecting the way that game is played or strategized on either side?
Not at all. I think you're going to see Carolina trying to build a culture there. They're trying to, hey, we're trying to get into the postseason, try to make sure we understand who we are.
Handle it ourselves.
Exactly. Leave no doubt. And with the way Bryce Young is playing, juxtaposed to the way Baker Mayfield played that game against Miami, you kind of lean more toward Bryce Young and how he's played. And also when you look at what they have on offense, they have potentially the Rookie of the Year in Ted McMillan, and you also look at what they've done defensively. They're opportunistic on defense. You think they're not licking their chops to go up against Baker Mayfield to turn the ball over like he did against Miami, knowing how they turned the ball over against the Rams, and the big reason why they won that ball game. So if you're Carolina, you're feeling really good about this, and you're also confident in Atlanta going to take care of business, because you talk about Bears-Packers, Saints-Falcons is probably number 2 in terms of rivalry, in terms of hate in the NFL, up there with Cowboys and everybody they play. But Saints and Falcons mean something. So the Falcons, to your point, could not only beat their hated rival, they could also knock out another divisional foe. So I'm excited for Carolina because they come in with all the momentum, all the confidence, and the quarterback, the run game, the playmakers to make this one exciting for them.
It's all so interesting. The fate of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers was in the hands of Kirk Cousins. Now it's in the hands of Tyler Shuck. Neither of those two teams are going to be in the playoffs, and the Buccaneers might not be either, depending on those outcomes. Also, some implication on the losing side of this Monday night matchup. The LA Rams currently dropping to the 6th seed. Now, there is a route back to the 5 seed and what would be that coveted trip to whoever ends up winning the NFC South. So that is going to be the difference between going to the winner of the NFC South or possibly taking a trip to Philadelphia or possibly taking a trip to Chicago. Mac, how big of a difference is that 5 to 6, depending the outcome of not just the LA game in Week 18, but they also now need the San Francisco loss?
It's a major difference because in the playoffs, there's no easy out. It's all competitive outings. But if you had to pick, guys, the teams you would want to play and most importantly travel to, you got to pick whoever comes out in the NFC South because they've been the most inconsistent the entire season. You talked about this earlier, Emery. The NFC South as a whole has been so up and down. It's been an emotional roller coaster. You don't know what you're going to get, who's going to give it to you. So if you're the Rams, you would love to be able to, knowing that you have to travel, you would love to go to either Tampa or Carolina, because in both cases, you've been the better team out of those two. You have a better quarterback play, and I understand you're in the midst of a 2-game losing streak. In totality, you have a better team. You've put forth better efforts than either one of those teams, even though Carolina beat you a few weeks ago. Matthew Stafford kind of played the same way he did tonight in that Carolina Panthers game, and we don't foresee that happening consistently, especially in a Game 7 scenario where you lose and you go home. So me personally, if you're the Rams, if you had to pick, you want to get whoever comes out of the NFC South.
Do you? Because if you think about what we saw tonight and the games that you lose, like you've always said, you put bad tape out there, the whole league sees it, right? So if you're the Rams, which you showed out here tonight, Blake Corum is banged up, so you may be limited in the backfield. You also look at DJ Humphries, a left tackle who was making his first start tonight, trying to help out, and he was pretty much a liability tonight. Hopefully he gets better the next game. And if you're facing Carolina, you're like, hey, they beat us already. Now they have to be licking their chops like, hey, we can go there and do it again. Now, if you go to Chicago or if you go to Philly, you got to deal with the run game. You got to deal with pass rush. That doesn't speak well to the offensive line play we saw tonight. So now what could happen is Stafford gets heated up a little bit more. The ball comes out, lax comes out all over the place, and they turn the ball over. So if you're the Rams, based on how you played tonight, you set yourself up for any one of those 3 games that you face. You probably will want to face Tampa because you would have an opportunistic defense to turn the ball over from Baker Mayfield. But a team that beats you and a team that can bludgeon you with the run game for both Philly and Chicago makes this a lot tougher for the Rams based on how they played tonight and the things that we've seen. And on top of the fact that we saw Emmanuel Forbes get targeted, so best believe he's going to see everyone's best shot in the passing game.
We have seen this LA Rams team in recent memory struggle to go there to Carolina. We've seen this team in the past struggle to go to Philadelphia. We've seen this LA team struggle in Chicago as well. The struggles can come anywhere. It is a team that now goes on the road, not because of this primetime outcome, but the primetime outcome a week ago against Seattle that ruled them out of the division in the 1 seed. If we could take another look at that playoff picture, because it is all intertwined, and I want to refocus the scenario here again. With a win and a San Francisco 49ers loss in that race for the 1 seed, that would keep San Francisco in the wild card picture. That would cement Seattle as your 1 seed. The 49ers and the Rams would have the same record at that point. The Rams would have the tiebreaker. The Rams would go back up to the 5 seed, Niners to the 6. Rams visit the Panthers, Niners visit the Eagles. Now that's assuming that we stay locked 2-3, Bears and Eagles. And guys, that's where I want to go next, because the one thing we do know is that the Green Bay Packers are our 7 seed no matter what happens in week 18. The options for the 2 seed is going to be right there with the Green Bay Packers. The Chicago Bears, that would be Act 3, fellas. The Eagles, that would be a Green Bay trip to Philadelphia. If you want to host one of those teams, or if you want to make a trip to one of those teams, depending on what lens you want to look at this through, if you're Green Bay, you want to go to Chicago for Act 3 or you want to go to Philadelphia?
Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, I think the easy answer would be go to Philly because of how stagnant their offense has been. But then with their championship pedigree and their experience and knowing that at any given time they can hit that light switch and everything starts flowing for them offensively, you can be in a world of hurt, right? So it's almost like you want to fight the person you've been used to fighting. That's how I see it. You know, you look at the neighborhood bully or whoever you grew up with. Give me the person who I'm used to getting in a tussle with, because I know how to handle it.
2 games that came down to 2 plays.
Exactly. So I would say if I'm Green Bay, I want to go to Chicago because I'm more familiar with their style. Granted, they're familiar with us. In these type of settings, me being a part of a playoff run where we had to play against Baltimore 3 times, it was no tricking. It was no out scheming. It was basically just executing better and playing harder for longer. And I think that would be the same scenario if Green Bay and Chicago was to face. So I would say, give me the guy who I'm used to fighting. I know how his punch feel. I know how his strength feel. Then going against a unfamiliar foe in the Philadelphia Eagles, also with a championship pedigree.
Yeah, it's easily the choice of Chicago. You want to go in and think how much intel you have on Chicago, not just from playing them twice, but also from Ben Johnson coaching with Detroit. You have all this intel on their offense and also their personnel. So it helps you out to be able to plan and have some different things thrown in the mix for the third time around. Now, we've seen this in playoff history before. You talked about playing Baltimore third time. I remember in '91, the Saints played the Falcons 3 times and lost that playoff game in the Superdome with Deion Sanders and Tim McKay and those cats like that. So it can be a problem, even though the Saints swept them during the regular season. It's hard to beat a team 3 times in a row. So because you have all this intel on the same opponent, that makes it all the more interesting. So you would want to go there, because if you go to Philly, you talked about the championship pedigree, you talked about, you know, the personnel, you talked about these guys been there, done that, bought the T-shirt. They're a little bit more healthier on defense than Chicago is right now up front.
And Tampa probably would say, I mean, not Tampa, Green Bay would probably say, heck, if Jordan Love is not concussed, even though Malik came into this ballgame, you like your chances with your starting quarterback more so than your backup quarterback, even though Malik played fairly well in Act 2.
Windy night out there in Chicago. I don't know how that touch
That
pass.
floater.
Maybe we get to
fade
see
away.
it. A Chicago win or a Philadelphia loss, and we are locked into that 2-7 in Act 3 of Chicago Green Bay. A look here at your CBS slate for Week 18. How'd we get here? Fellas, it was just September.
It was.
It's all on the line come Week 18. The NFL on CBS, always bringing you the best. Packers, Vikings rounding things out. Texans and Colts, we still got to sort the South in the AFC as well. And we go Jets and Bills in the 425. Broncos still fighting for that 1 seed. A win will cement, and it's going to be against a Chargers team without Justin Herbert. So that's likely 1 seed in the Broncos, a 7 seed in the Chargers. The 7 will travel to 2. The 2 likely to be the New England Patriots.